Oh, hello. I'm James Yasko, Director of Education and Interpretation at the Hermitage, the home of President Andrew Jackson. The day was January 30th, 1835. Jackson was leaving the East Portico of the Capitol building following the funeral of South Carolina Congressman Warren Davis. Part of his entourage included a congressman named David Crockett. Out from behind a pillar popped a house painter, Englishman by birth, named Richard Lawrence. Lawrence took a pistol and fired at Andrew Jackson, and that gun misfired. He then took a second pistol out and fired, and that gun misfired also. Lawrence took off running. Jackson, who at this point was 67, 68 years old, took off running and started beating Lawrence with his cane. Now, who was this Richard Lawrence, and why did he try to kill Andrew Jackson, the first recorded presidential assassination attempt in American history? As mentioned previously, Richard Lawrence was an English house painter. Some experts have thought that perhaps his exposure to the chemicals in early 19th century paint led to some mental issues, which might explain the situation. Lawrence believed that he was King Richard III. And because Jackson was in the process of shutting down the National Bank, the second bank of the United States, he was not getting the money owed to him rightfully as the King of England. So he began harboring ill will against Jackson, studying his movements. A couple years prior to that, he began growing a mustache, the obvious sign of mental disturbance, and buying expensive and flamboyant clothing, which he would change 3 or 4 times a day. School children in the area began calling him King Richard, which he enjoyed greatly, even though he didn't understand that they were mocking him. On the day of the assassination attempt, January 30th, 1835, Lawrence was seen in his paint shop reading a book, when all of a sudden he shut the book, stood up, and said, "I'll be damned if I don't do it." That's when he hid behind the pillar. Where was the Secret Service, you might ask? Keep in mind, the Secret Service did not begin in their official functions until 1901. Richard Lawrence was prosecuted for the attempted murder of Andrew Jackson by a lawyer that you perhaps have heard of, Francis Scott Key. The jury deliberated for less than 5 minutes before returning a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. And Lawrence spent the rest of his days in mental institutions, passing away in June of 1861. And that is the story of the first assassination attempt in American history. Have a great day.